Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the Grade 3 Oklahoma Derby, the feature race on a big Saturday afternoon of racing at Remington Park. Let's throw up the field for race number 12. Chock full of nice 3-year-olds going 9 furlongs for a mile and an eighth. Your morning line favorite is the multiple graded stakes winner Mucho Gusto, the number 10, trained by Bob Baffert. Right next door, the 11, Owendale, horse that was third in the Preakness earlier this year, fifth in the Travers last time out. We'll talk about how he might have had some excuses. And then you've got the 5 Tax at 4-1 on the morning line, and all he's done this year is win the Jim Dandy, the prestigious local prep for the Travers. Good 3-year-olds in this race, competitive pace situation, according to the Timeform US Pace Projector. They've got long-range Toddy out there on the lead. I'm not sure that's going to be the case. I think the 5 Tax is going to be very forwardly placed under Kendrick Carmouche. I know Mucho Gusto can find an early spot as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think this pace is going to be legit in this race. There are plenty of horses who want to be forward, and I agree with you. I think Tax is going to come out of there running.
Let's take the field in post position order, beginning with the number 1, Drifting West, very lightly raced son of New Year's Day, of course, the sire of Maximum Security. Buyer boost is needed for this horse. Career best only of a 71, third in an allowance race last time out. He's one of the local hopes that if he's chasing a fast pace could be in big trouble.
It's unfortunate for him that this is the race that they decided to step up in, because this Remington Derby or Oklahoma Derby came up really, really tough this year.
The number 2, View Magic's just been a wonderful claim by Brett Calhoun. Took this horse for 20. He's won 3 out of 4, but most of the good work's been done on the turf. I know he won his maiden on the main track. I actually think this Tappet Gelding might be a kind of promising listed turf horse down the road.
Yeah, the improvement is noted since they claimed him, but he's really found a tough race here, and I think you're right, he might be a little bit better on the grass.
Bankett has familiarity with Remington Park. He finished second in the Springboard Mile, and I didn't think he had a great trip that day. That was last year. This New York bred's been solid. He won the New York Derby at Finger Lakes. Last time out in the Albany, he ran a good second. It's amazing because early in his career, he was a one-dimensional speed horse, and now he's turned into a one-dimensional closer. He's going to get some pace to run at. I'm still not sure about the mile and an eighth. I know he was running late. I think he needs a lot of things to go his way at this distance.
Yeah, I agree. He's actually a pretty solid New York bred. The fact that they've turned him into a closer has actually worked for them, but that means he just needs everything to go his way in this race. We'll see if that happens. I thought he ran fine in the Albany. I'm not so sure that Funny Guy, as close as it was, didn't run a lot better than he did.
Sleepy Eyes Todd, I think, is a sleeper in here at 20-1 on the morning line. This is his 3rd start of the form cycle. He's won both of his races this cycle at Canterbury, one very easily, one with a little bit more of a fight. But earlier this year, he ran into some decent 3-year-olds, Long-Range Toddy and the Smarty Jones. Laughing Fox had a little bit of hype surrounding him in that non-winners of one other than race. Does he have to take a step forward? Sure, but maybe he can hit the board at a big price.
Yeah, maybe he can. Again, this is just an Oklahoma Derby that came up really, really tough this year, and it makes it hard on horses like him.
Tax won the Jim Dandy 2 starts back. He had a better trip than Tacitus, the beaten favorite, who, of course, stumbled at the start and then ended up down inside, maybe where you didn't want to be. In the Travers last time out, the plan, I think, was to make the front, and I think the post position draw kind of scuttled those plans because he had the far outside post. Irad tried to get forward. He ended up outside, which is where you wanted to be on the track, but pushing that pace from that outside post at that distance, a tough task for Tax. I like him turning back in here, and it'll be interesting to see if they leave him alone early.
Yeah, that was a lot working against him in the Travers, beginning with the post position draw. It just really forced his hand in that race, and I think it really worked against him. All in all, I thought he actually ran a pretty good race in the Travers. His Jim Dandy was good. He's paired up 98s in his last 2 races. He's a contender in here.
No, he is legit, no doubt about it. Another great claim. They took this horse for $50,000 last year. First time against open company for the New York bred Funny Guy. Let's watch him take down Bankett in the Albany Stakes. He's in the pink silks. He was up close to the pace. He's angling out for the stretch drive. Bankett, white hat, far outside. Funny Guy gets the jump on Bankett. And going into this race, Mike, we were not sure as to whether Funny Guy would be at his best at a mile and an eighth, but I like how he digs down with determination to fend off Bankett. This is a nice performance, and he got a little bit of a fig for it.
I thought he ran really well in this race. As you say, he kept closer to that pace. He got right on top of the leaders as they came into the stretch, and I liked the way that he finished in there to hold on. He took a big step forward in there. He'll have to take another step forward to beat this field.
Chess Chief chased the good Mr. Money in vain in both the Indiana Derby and the West Virginia Derby. They tried him in the Travers. Mike Smith had him in the right spot. He must have been 5-6 wide on the far turn. He just wasn't as good as those horses on that day. His buyers are creeping forward. I kind of think he's at his best when he's a one-run closer. And again, if the pace is fast, maybe he can pick up a piece. We've seen a lot of Dallas Stewart 3-year-olds do that at big prices over the years.
Yeah, that's true. The race could set up really well for him. He's going to need for that to happen, and then maybe he can get a piece. But again, he's one of those horses. They've been trying tougher spots with him to no avail, really, and that might be the case once again.
Perhaps the 8 Cairo Cat is slowly getting back to his best form. This will be his 3rd start of the year, but I'm beginning to wonder if he's just not going to be the same 3-year-old that he was at 2, and that was a very promising horse that won the Grade 3 Iroquois at 1 1/16. Now, he caught a runaway and spin-off first off the layoff, little bit of a wet track last time out, but I have not been impressed with his 2 races this year.
Yeah, I haven't either. We'll see. They're going to press on with him. He certainly has some ability, but he just needs to figure things out pretty quickly here.
Long Range Toddy began his career right here at Remington Park. He won the Clever Trevor. He won the Springboard Mile. He ended up winning the Rebel, and he was involved in all those shenanigans in the Kentucky Derby when he was checked very hard when Maximum Security drifted out. I wonder if that race took its toll on Long Range Toddy, because the Ohio Derby was kind of a disappointing performance. The Indiana Derby, kind of a disappointing performance. I like that Steve Asmussen gave this horse time.
I do too. We'll see what happens with him. I think there's a chance he could take a step forward in here. I don't know, Dan. I know that he's a pretty good horse. I've never really thought of him as being near the top of this division, and the field that this race has drawn, he's going to have to do a lot better than he's been doing to beat this field.
3 graded wins this year for the 10 Mucho Gusto, second in the Haskell behind divisional leader Maximum Security 2 starts back. Last time out in the Travers, he faced off with Owendale. We swing into the stretch. Mucho Gusto at a nice 3-wide tracking trip. He's on the outside right now in the black blinkers, and it looks like he might be on his way just outside of Tacitus. Down towards the inside, and the white noseband is Owendale, buried on the dead rail after breaking from the inside post. Owendale really had no chance. Mucho Gusto just found this distance a little bit too far. Both ran well.
Yeah, I think they both ran well too. It's interesting because Mucho Gusto, him and Tacitus were playing a little cat and mouse on the lead in that race, and then they wound up finally starting to race each other around the second turn into the stretch. This horse ran fine in there. I think his last 2 races sort of point him out as an improving 3-year-old, but taking a short price on him in this race won't be an easy thing to do. This is a good field.
He's going to have to get a good spot. He has the tactical speed to do so, and I still think there is a question mark about his ability at the 1 1/8. This is going to be a big test for Mucho Gusto, but with his running style, I would not be surprised at all if he's taking this thing over at the quarter pole and Owendale is charging at him. Let's get back to Owendale as we throw up our top selections for this race. Really big win in the Lexington in the spring was sort of his breakout performance. We always knew he had something. That was the race that proved he knew he had something. Then in the Preakness, taken to the outside, 1-2 finishers, ended up on the rail, ran just fine. Ohio Derby got the nice trip from Florent Giroux, beating Math Wizard, who I guess now all of a sudden has flattered Owendale. And the Travers, I would just draw a line through it. It was a dead rail. Flo could never get off it.
Yeah, it was unfortunate for him that that's how that track was playing, because he drew the inside and he just couldn't get out. He actually ran a pretty nice race, I thought, in the Travers. He's really improved in his last few starts. Post 11's no bargain for this horse, Dan. He's going to need a trip, but I have to give him another chance off that last race.
And if this pace is fast, we saw that he can kick. He did so in the Preakness. He is 3-1 on the morning line. You're going to go with Owendale. I think Mucho Gusto will hold him off in the stretch. I went 10-5, 11-6. Give me numbers.
11-10, 6 and 5.
The Grade 3 Oklahoma Derby, a really nice race full of 3-year-olds on Sunday, and it has an approximate post of 8:24 Central. Best of luck.